Hello, hi, welcome to the final episode of Focus 2022 with Sangeetha Devi. So, this episode lo we are discussing about the biggest blockbusters and big hits of this year. I have Sangeetha with me. Hi, Sangeetha.
Hi,
So
Prema.
again with you.
Third day.
Third day. So let us go again in the chronological order. మనం జనవరి నుంచి తీద్దాము ఒక్కొక్క నెలలో వాట్ ఆర్ దోస్ బిగ్ హిట్స్ బ్లాక్ బస్టర్స్ అండ్ పాన్ ఇండియా ఫిల్మ్స్. సో జాన్ అంత పెద్ద సినిమాలు ఏమి రాలేవు. ఫిబ్రవరిలో వీ హ్యావ్ డీజే టిల్లు. సో డీజే టిల్లు వాజ్ లైక్ అ రేవ్.
I think it came like a nice laughter therapy after the Omicron wave.
Yes.
Just like how Jatiratnalu made us laugh in the theatres in 2021. Very nicely mounted, very nicely written madcap comedy, taking everyday situations out of the streets of, I think, Maratpalli and Malkajgiri and then making it fit into a crime kind of a world.
Correct.
I thought it was nicely written and directed. Both Vimal Krishna and Sidhu's talent, of course, we spoke about in the previous episode as well.
బట్ వాట్ ఈస్ ఇట్ దట్ యూ రియలీ లైక్డ్ అబౌట్ డిజిటల్? బికాస్ నా వరకు నేను తీసుకుంటే ఒక డార్క్ కామెడీ అన్నది వచ్చి చాలా కాలం అవుతుంది. మన దగ్గర కామెడీ ఫిల్మ్స్ ఉన్నాయి, డ్రామా కామెడీ ఉంది, ఫ్యామిలీ కామెడీ ఉంది, ఇట్లా రకరకాల కామెడీస్ వీవ్ సీన్. ఒక డార్క్ కామెడీ, ఒక డెడ్ బాడీ చుట్టూ సినిమా నడవటం, దాన్ని సెంటర్ పాయింట్గా చేసి తీయటం అన్నది ఇట్ ఈస్ సో హిలేరియస్. ఇంచ్ బై ఇంచ్, బిట్ బై బిట్, ఫ్రేమ్ బై ఫ్రేమ్, యూ విల్ జస్ట్ ఇట్స్ అ లాఫ్టర్ రైట్ అంతే.
I think it was very sharply written. Whatever they wanted to say, not just the crime part of it, even the smaller things that make up that characterization, no? Right from his keto and the way he styles his hair and that saloon, whatever he goes through, even right till the end, that golf kind of a dialogue.
right.
I have a golfer husband, so the way I laughed about that, seeing that thing, I think it was very sharply written. That was the high point of Tillu. And then the performance.
అండ్ the dialogues which he has with Radhika, and అంత పాపం అమాయకంగా, ఇది నిజంగానూ నన్ను అడుగుతున్నావా రాధిక అని అంటాడు చూడు కొన్ని అంటే అంత అమాయకత్వం. అట్ ద సేమ్ టైమ్ ఆ క్యారెక్టర్ వాడి గురించి వాడు చాలా గొప్పగా అనుకోవటం. అంటే వన్ పాయింట్ ఆఫ్ టైమ్ హీ థింక్స్ దిస్ నోబడీ అదర్ దెన్ హిమ్, ఈజ్ ది గ్రేట్. మేము ఇటువంటి వాళ్ళు చేస్తామా, మాదంతా ఎట్లుంటది, వేరే లెవెల్లో ఉంటుంది, అట్లుంటది
మనతోని became such a widely used catchphrase.
Exactly.
I also liked Neha Shetty's character, the way it was written. It was not one of those very typical heroine. There's a little bit of mystery about her, and you don't know what kind of a person she is, and you can judge her easily. And then she says, unless you've been through it, you can't judge me. And
and she sustained that character ని సస్టైన్ చేశారు ఎండ్ వరకు కూడా. మనకి ఇంకా ఒక సస్పెన్సే, అసలు అమ్మాయి ఎవరు,
who is she,
అమ్మాయి క్యారెక్టర్ ఏంటి అన్నది. అండ్ అల్టిమేట్ హిలేరియస్ జోక్ పార్ట్ ఏంటంటే టువర్డ్స్ ది ఎండ్ హీ సేస్, నువ్వు బ్లాక్ శారీ వేసుకోకు, సూట్ అవ్వదు అనేసి మళ్ళీ వాడికి ఏంటంటే ఇంకొక హోప్ లాగా, నేను మళ్ళీ కలుస్తాను నేను, లేకపోతే మళ్ళీ మనం ప్యాచప్ అవుతాం అన్న ఒక హోప్ ఇస్తాడు చూడండి. అది హైలైట్ ఇక్కడ. No, I mean, I think every part of it, the film, the way it was written and all. And I think masterpieces happen only once. అంటే ఇలాంటిది ఒకటి డీజే టిల్లు లాంటి ఒక క్యారెక్టర్, అలాంటి ఒక మనిషి, వాడు చాలా టిపికల్ ఫెల్లో, వాళ్ళు అంటూ ఒక్కసారే ఉంటాడు.
Towards the second half, somewhere in between, somewhere it kind of lost its steam, in that hospital scene and the way they drag it on. You don't really relate to a lot of things which are happening as much. But you are in a forgiving mode because whatever has happened until then was so good. It held your attention.
Right. So then the next month, that is March. That is a month that we have been waiting for 2 years almost. Triple R. అసలు వాట్ అన్ యూఫోరియా ఇట్ క్రియేటెడ్ వరల్డ్ వైడ్. అసలు పాటలు రిలీజ్ అవుతున్న కొద్దీ దాని హైప్, దాని ఎక్స్పాన్షన్, ఇట్స్ లైక్ మైండ్ బ్లోయింగ్. అండ్ when the D-Day has actually come, it's like everybody thronged the theaters. So what is Triple R to you?
Triple R for me is about setting the bar even higher for Rajamouli as a showman. I think the showmanship was like spectacular in this film. As a storyteller, I'm part of those kind of avid film buff who would say that I enjoyed Ega and Bahubali too, better as a more immersive kind of a storytelling than RRR. But there's absolutely no denying the entertainment value that it gave us. And the sheer level of imagination. When you watch it, you're like, how did somebody conceive something like this, and how did someone altogether pull it off? That scene where Tarak opens the, that container and all the animals come flying out. I just remember the teenagers sitting next to me just jumping out of their seats for it. It's like incredible what they've done. Or even the Natu Natu song. Every other spectacle you can just keep dissecting, how well they've put it off. And brilliant technical team, I should say. The second time I watched it was more to appreciate the technical finesse of it. Srinivas Mohan supervising the visual effects. Senthil Kumar's cinematography. I thought they really did it very, very well, and it's getting the deserved appreciation it should for all these factors internationally as well.
And Keeravani gari music, I think next level ki వెళ్ళిపోయింది ఈ సినిమాతో.
Dosti song is a favorite of mine.
Dosti? Okay. For me, obvious, not Natu Natu, and also the Beam song that Bhairava sings, that is wonderful. I mean, every song, the BGM especially, the background score is like, it is like next level. And now that ఈ సినిమా ఇప్పుడు అకాడమీ అవార్డ్స్కి చాలా అవార్డ్స్కి నామినేట్ అవుతుంది.
Golden Globes is a big thing.
Yes. So I think if they
to come so far itself is like a big feat. I'm just hoping that Oscar shortlist lo undi, but next month we'll know whether it makes it to the final shortlist as well.
But it's such a great thing actually to even think about Rajamouli. How did this man go to, this level? It started off with student number 1, and today it's RRR. Worldwide, ఒక్క సినిమా కూడా ఫ్లాప్ అవ్వకుండా 11 సినిమాలు in a row. I think it is like impossible for any human being. ఇప్పటివరకు జరగలేదు చరిత్రలో ఎక్కడ కూడా. And how do you think about this whenever you feel, how can a man not have any flop? How can a director not have?
It surprises me each time. It surprises me. It's like, right from Magadira, I think I've loved every film that he's put out. Probably he gets the pulse of what the audience wants from him, and he's able to deliver that each time, and just letting his imagination soar. And he has such a fabulous team which has been working with him for quite a few years, who understands what he wants and then delivers it also.
Right. Yeah. Correct. So then the next month, April, not that great films. But in May, we have Ashokavanamlo Arjuna Kalyanam. The title itself was very intriguing. అంటే అది వెళ్ళి సినిమా చూడాలి అని అనిపించేలాగా ఆ టైటిల్ పెట్టడం, అండ్ దెన్ విశ్వక్ని వేరే లాగా చూపించటం. విశ్వక్ మనందరం ఒక టైప్లో ఒక యాంగిల్లో చూసాము. ఈజ్ లైక్ టోటలీ డిఫరెంట్ ఇన్ దిస్ ఫిలిం. సో అండ్ దెన్ ద షో రన్నర్ Ravikiran. His scripts, his writing, I think he's just such a young chap, and what brilliant thoughts he has. So I wanted to talk about Ashok.
Change comes from these kind of emerging filmmakers. I really look forward to films which are written by newer people who want to bring in fresh ideas into the film industry.
Right.
That's how we had a Tarun Bhaskar coming during Pelli Chuplu.
Correct.
And then we had even Venkatesh Maha coming with Care of Kancharapalam. So in that way, I really like Ashokavanamlo, and I could not find any fault with that. It's not a film where I will sit and nitpick what was not right or what could have been even better. I just wish more people had gone to the theatres to appreciate it. It came 1 week before Sarkar Vari Pata, if I remember right, and I was like thinking to myself, why didn't they just wait for a couple of weeks so that they would have gotten more theatres? But I guess the business is quite different.
బట్ వెరీ 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 వెల్ అప్రిషియేటెడ్ ఫిలిం. ఎస్పెషల్లీ కొన్ని డైలాగ్స్ ఆ సినిమాలో ఎంత టచ్గా ఉంటాయి అంటే, అరే కరెక్టే కదా అని అనిపించే కొన్ని డైలాగ్స్ ఉంటాయి. లైక్ దే వాజ్ వన్ డైలాగ్ విచ్ స్టేడ్ విత్ మీ. ఉండిపోయే వాళ్ళు వచ్చేంత వరకు వచ్చే వాళ్ళందరూ వెళ్ళిపోతూనే ఉంటారు అన్నది. దట్ డైలాగ్ ఈజ్ లైక్ సో ట్రూ. ఇట్ ఈస్ వెరీ రెలవెంట్ టు ఎవ్రీబడీస్ లైఫ్. అంతే కదా, మన లైఫ్లోకి ఎవరైతే ఉండిపోవటానికి వస్తారో వాళ్ళు వచ్చేంత వరకు ఎవరో ఒకరు వచ్చిపోతూనే ఉంటారు.
అవును.
అండ్ ఆ అబ్బాయి ఆ ఏజ్లో అలాంటి అంత డీప్ ఫిలాసఫీ,
షార్ప్ అబ్జర్వేషన్ ఆఫ్ లైఫ్ అరౌండ్ యూ, and then to bring it to a screenplay that works beautifully is a talent.
Exactly. Then in the month of June we have 2 films, Major and Ante Sundaraniki. I think we spoke a little bit about Ante Sundaraniki, but I want to talk more about it. Actually, Ante Sundaranikiలో చాలా patriarchal issues ni baga address చేశారు. And lot of women voice was heard. So what do you have to talk about Ante Sundaraniki, and then we'll talk about Major.
I think it goes to show how much Vivek Atreya also, just like we talked about Ravi Kiran, I think Vivek Atreya also brought his life experiences and observations and perhaps his own sensibilities into writing this entire thing. If you permit me, I just want to talk one line about Brocheva Revarura. If you remember the last, towards the climax, Sri Vishnu tells Nivetha that in spite of all of us trying to help you, it was you who got out of a tricky situation. So, you've saved yourself from this. In koncham gattiga mee naanatho nu cheppaleva. To stand up for yourself and to have your voice. That was so fabulous. Because we often talk about male savior complex, which is reflected in a lot of films. And then there's this man who tells the girl that, why don't you speak up for yourself? Drawing from this experience that you've gone through. And a similar kind of a sensibility I saw here also, where he understands different age groups of people. We've spoken enough about Sundar in the previous episode and how well Nani pulled it off. But it's not just he who makes the film. There's also Leela with her own baggage. Whatever happens in her sister's life, she carries the burden of it, right? It influences her decision. This is something which, in a different way, all of us would relate to in our own families as well. What a sibling does has a bearing on the other sibling. So where Tanvi talks about the fact that is my worth determined only by my pregnancy.
Right.
That was so beautiful. You don't get the supporting characters voicing these kind of opinions in a mainstream film, in a family drama so often. That, and then the final climax portion also had my heart, because it was not the hero giving a monologue. If you notice, he's sitting silently and then Rohini takes over and she just tears apart that hypocrisy, the convenient hypocrisy that her family has been practicing. And he says, have you not asked yourself why Sundar has been lying so much? It's we who made him like that, right? I've seen this in a number of families, okay? I mean, not with respect to lying. There are so many people where I wonder, why can't they just go up and talk to their parents and sit and talk out a situation and essay? And then I understood later in life that, not everybody has been brought up in that kind of an open way.
Correct. Conditioning అన్నది చిన్నప్పటి నుంచి వాళ్ళని ఈ రకంగా ఇట్లా ఒక బ్రాకెట్ లో పెట్టేసి మీరు ఇట్లా ఉండాలి అంటే వాళ్ళు చచ్చినట్టు అందులోంచి బయట పడటానికి they'll find their own ways, whether it is lies or whether it is crime or whether it is anything,
whatever. So I thought he brought in all these aspects so beautifully. Then there was, of course, Aruna Bhikshu's role also, which was so small and then significant. Each time that she takes out
Veena.
And that instrumental music as well.
So symbolic.
Very symbolic. And I thought this was one of Vivek Sagar's more very richly textured kind of songs and the background score. It takes time to grow on you, and then you realize that kind of a variation that he's achieved in it.
Especially there is one scene where Nani and Nazriya sit side by side and they discuss about their issue, the problem. And that is when Nazriya talks, it is our problem. No, she doesn't say it. Nani says, it is me who has to handle this. So that's where, a man, takes charge and says, look, it is ours. It is not just yours. So I think all these things,
Also, there's this thing that, when you put out something to the universe, even if it's a lie, you keep repeating it so many times, and then you tend to believe that that lie is a reality. And then it strikes them hard when they know that, something else might be happening in their own life.
I know.
So many things to like about it.
Right. Yeah, so now Major. So Major is one film which, I actually met Major Sandeep Unnikrishna's parents also directly. And they were like, so overwhelmed with the response. They cried every time they watched the film. There was a point of time, I believe, when I heard from Shashi Kiran saying that, the parents were not at all willing for a biopic. And I don't know what made them agree to this. I think it is all Sesh's conviction, and also I think they saw in him that earnestness to do it properly and not just to ride on something like that, because biopics have become a norm. So many Bollywood films have done that, and then anything with a national approach and to salute a hero is like an overdone kind of a thing. So they wanted to probably be convinced that I'm giving my son's story to the right person and he'll do justice to it. So he went that extra mile to get their confidence in him. And it showed on the screen. Correct. Because his father was telling me, Sandeep's father, that Sandeep had lot of flaws in him, and he was not the hero type that you're thinking.
Yeah.
Only on that particular day, he had to go and fight it out. That's it. But otherwise, he's a very timid guy, and that was very well portrayed in the film. Major lo చూపించింది అబ్బాయి నైట్ టైం బాత్రూమ్కి వెళ్ళడానికి కూడా భయపడతాడు. వాళ్ళ అక్క సహాయం తీసుకొని వెళ్తాడు, ప్లీజ్ నాకు భయం వేస్తుంది, లెట్ us go అని. సో అలాంటి మనిషి పెద్దయ్యాక కూడా అదే అంట అతని క్యారెక్టర్. హీఈస్ లైక్ ఆల్వేస్ బిహైండ్ ద మదర్స్, కొంగు చాటు బిడ్డ అంటాడు కదా, అట్లా ఉండే అబ్బాయి. హీఈస్ లైక్ దాట్ యాక్చువల్లీ హిస్ క్యారెక్టర్, అండ్ దట్ వాస్ సో వెల్ పోర్ట్రేడ్. నార్మల్గా అయితే సినిమాటిక్ లిబర్టీస్ తీసుకొని చిన్నప్పటి నుంచే చాలా హీరోయిక్, ఫ్లాలెస్, పర్ఫెక్షనిస్ట్ అని చూపించేవాళ్ళు.
That's a problem with a lot of biopics. Exactly. They try to cover up everything and show somebody as absolutely flawless.
Right.
I don't think any human being is without flaws or without setbacks. They brought it to an extent, but I still thought the training montages or his inspiration to become like a soldier, it could have had a little more depth than I felt a little bit. But this is not to take away from the entire film. On the whole, it worked. So
వెరీ ట్రూ. దట్స్ రియల్లీ అదే, అంటే రియలిస్టిక్గా ఆనెస్ట్గా ఉన్నట్టు చూపించడానికి మ్యాక్సిమం ప్రయత్నం చేస్తే దట్ ఇట్ సెల్ఫ్ ఇస్ అ సక్సెస్ ఆఫ్ అ ఫిల్మ్. Yeah, then we go to August. So August we have Bimbisara, Sitaramam and Kartikeya, and all the three went on to become major hits. Yeah. So one by one, if we have to talk.
Bimbisara was a surprise because it kind of reinvented Kalyan Ram, and then to use that time travel technique to bring him from the past into the present, from evil to good, as we were discussing before. And all this comes from a debut director.
Yes.
So during COVID, because I remember Kalyan Ram saying in his interviews that, you never know whether the project itself will get completed because the second wave was so devastating. So to do a project in phases, and that too when an actor has to reinvent himself, and toying with a concept like time travel, fantasy, comedy, so many other things put to it, was quite remarkable. And within the limited kind of budgets that they had for this scale. So a little bit, I think we can overlook the production design or the VFX, which could have been even more better. But overall, I thought it was like a very interesting effort from a first time.
టైం ట్రావెల్ కాన్సెప్ట్తో పాటు ఒక అద్భుతమైన కథ ఉంది అందులో. అలా కథ కాన్సెప్ట్, కళ్యాణ్ రామ్ని మనం ఆ రకంగా చూడటం అన్నది, సో ఇది ఎన్నో కొత్త అంశాలు. కీరవాణి గారి బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్ స్కోర్, అండ్ దెన్ చిరంతన్ భట్, ఐ మీన్ ఎవ్రీబడి యాడెడ్ లాట్ ఆఫ్ ఫ్లేవర్ టు ద ఫిల్మ్. ఐ థింక్ దట్స్ వై దిస్ ఫిల్మ్ వాజ్ వెరీ మచ్. అసలు అందరూ ఆ సినిమా మొదటి రోజు చూసి దే వర్ లైక్ షాక్డ్. ఏంటి, ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ ఒక డెబ్యూటెంట్ నుంచి ఇలాంటి సినిమా వచ్చిందా అని చాలా మంది సర్ప్రైజ్ అయ్యారు. దెన్ కార్తికేయ, అఫ్ కోర్స్ కార్తికేయ ఇస్ అగైన్ అ సర్ప్రైజ్. వాళ్ళకు ముందు ఇక్కడ తప్ప ఎక్కడ థియేటర్స్ లేవు. బాలీవుడ్ లో దే జస్ట్ హార్డ్లీ గేవ్ సమ్ 10-15 థియేటర్స్, అండ్ దెన్ ఇట్ వెంట్ ఆన్ టు గివ్ 100,000 థియేటర్స్. ఓ మై గాడ్, దట్ ఈస్ లైక్ అమేజింగ్. అండ్ ఎవ్రీబడి త్రూ అవుట్ ద కంట్రీ స్టార్టెడ్ ప్రైజింగ్ దట్ ఫిల్మ్.
My personal favorite is more of Kartikeya than Kartikeya 2.
Okay.
I might be in the minority when I say this. I thought that was a better written thriller and better executed thriller is my opinion.
Okay.
Here I felt that there was potential to probably give out a very Indian setup of a Da Vinci Code kind of a thing, analyzing that kind of Hindu semiotics and that symbolism so much that we have read about in the books that Dan Brown wrote. It became an overkill after a point, but that film did fantastically. I was also reminded to an extent about Ashwin Sanghi's book called The Krishna Key. Not to say that the stories are the same and all that. They attempted something like in an Indian context. Why not do something like that? I somehow felt that the entire mystery when it unfolds and all did not have so much of a wow factor for me. Again, I might be in the minority when I say this, but I preferred Kartikeya better than Kartikeya.
But I think again adding to this, ఈ సినిమా కూడా బాగా హిట్ అయ్యి చాలా జనాల్లోకి వెళ్ళటానికి ఒక వన్ మోర్ రీజన్ ఇస్ ద ప్రీవియస్ ఫిల్మ్స్ దట్ కేమ్, వెదర్ ఇట్ ఇస్ అఖండ, చాలా సినిమాలు హిందూ మైథాలజీ, గాడ్స్,
the socio-political flavor right now is different. It kind of benefited from
that. So Ram, అంతకు ముందు RRR లో రామ్. సో ఏంటంటే ఒక పీరియడ్ ఫిలిం, ఒక సోషియో ఫ్యాంటసీ ఫిలిం ఆర్ ఒక మైథలాజికల్ క్యారెక్టర్స్తో ఉన్న ఫిలిమ్స్, దీని యాక్సెప్టెన్స్ బాగా పెరిగింది. సో ఐ థింక్ దట్ కుడ్ బి వన్ ఆఫ్ ద రీజన్స్.
ఫ్లేవర్ ఆఫ్ ద సీజన్.
Exactly. So probably. Yeah, true. Then we have Sitaram. Oh, that has been my go-to film throughout the, even if it releases every month also, I'm going to watch it. So it's like that. I really like that film. What about you? What do you think about
I went
Sitaram?
in not expecting much, to be frank, because you never know how these kind of period romances and dramas can even turn out to be. Though I had spoken to Hanu before the film, and then, but even then I went with minimal expectations, and I should say I was like very, very pleasantly surprised. And later a lot of people said, didn't they spoon feed so much, didn't they over explain things? But you rooted for both Ram and Sita, and then that mid interval point, that big reveal that comes about her character. So in spite of these small missteps and all that, I was like completely bowled over by the film. I thought Dulquer also acted phenomenally well. He had that innocence in him.
Yes.
It's like you watch it with a smile when you see that entire letter writing, and then the way the entire romance unfolds. Mrunal as well, she was a good find. And I also liked the fact that they used Rashmika not as a prop and made her do something interesting for a change, which was very, very necessary.
Yeah, even Tarun Bhaskar's character.
Oh yeah.
His mother's character. I mean, everything fell in place.
What I liked about this film was, right at the beginning of the film, there's this dialogue where they say that, it's not wrong for you to love your country so much, but you don't need to hate the other country so much. Exactly. They kind of made us, just observe the point that you need to look at people as people beyond the boundaries of religion and nationality.
Yeah.
Through a story like this. And it was a musical. Vishal Chandrasekhar's music, I thought, was very good. It had that kind of a repeat value. You could just go back to it like your comfort meal kind of thing. You could listen to it.
And after a long time, opting for S.P. Charan's voice. Oh my God, that's such a refresher. అసలు ఎంత కాలం అయిపోయిందో మళ్ళీ బాలుగారు పాడుతున్నారా అన్న ఒక ఫీలింగ్ వచ్చేసింది ఆ పాటలు విని. బట్ వన్ థింగ్ యూ టెల్ మీ, even Hanu also was little skeptical in one of my interviews. He told ఈ 18 to 25 ఏజ్ గ్రూప్ వాళ్ళని అసలు నేను ట్యాప్ చేయగలనా అన్న ఒక భయం, ఒక టెన్షన్ ఆయనకి ఉండిందంట ఈ సినిమా అప్పుడు. ఎందుకు అంటే ఇప్పటి టైమ్ అండ్ ఏజ్లో, ఇప్పటి జనరేషన్, there are no more that letter writing love types and just looking, feeling, experiencing love. No, it's about touching, holding, kissing, hugging. So love has transformed in various ways. So love అన్నదానికి మీనింగ్స్ ఏ మారిపోయినాయి, రకరకాల అర్థాలు.
Urban romance is very different.
So I don't know whether I could really tap their emotions అని ఆయన కూడా అనుకున్నారంట at some point of time. So what do you have to say about this? When you were watching, what did you go through? Did you think, అరే ఇది అందరు చూడగలుగుతారా, ఇది అందరికి నచ్చుతుందా ఇలాంటి లవ్ స్టోరీ అని ఏమన్నా మీకు అట్లా అనిపించిందా ఏమన్నా చూస్తున్నప్పుడు?
See, I liked it a lot. I was not thinking on those factors because they're telling you very clearly that this is like an old world romance and it's shifting between 60s to 80s. So you have to give into that world and say how did romance happen during those days. And with two characters who've not met, and it's letter writing. So when you stay true to the essence of the story that you want to tell, I think you get the emotions right. Your writing and then the actors who can pull it off. I was watching this again in a cinema hall, not the press show, another show.
Okay.
And I heard a few boys who were sitting along with me who were saying that ever chusta reddy, like that, and somebody else told their friend also during the interval saying, "Idi OTT lo chuskovachu." I felt really shocked. I was like, I hope this is not going to be the general opinion. So when it became like a huge, you knew the buzz by the time the film ended, and then by later in the evening, I was happy. I was like. See, it also shows that if you set aside your cynicism, there is scope to say, put forth a Veer Zara kind of a romance.
Yes.
For whether Sita Ramam or even to an extent Shyam Singh Roy, that last scene where goes back to find Sai Pallavi, the origin of inspiration somewhere to some extent is Veer Zara. That uncorrupted romance, I think there's still scope for that.
It's still there. Yeah, it's still there existing. Otherwise, why would we have so many honor killings even today? See, until love and the purity undi kabatti ఆ అమ్మాయిని ఆ అబ్బాయిని యాక్సెప్ట్ చెయ్యలేకపోతున్నందుకే పేరెంట్స్ ఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు దట్ ఎక్స్టెంట్. అంటే ప్యూర్ లవ్ ఉన్నట్టే కదా. ఆ లవ్ వాళ్ళు వదులుకోలేకపోతున్నారు కదా. See, the girl and the boy are not able to forego that love.
Yeah, that's a dark territory.
It's a dark territory, but it is a fact of life. అంటే today people say that okay, ఈరు కాకపోతే ఇంకోళ్ళు కాకపోతే ఇంకోళ్ళు అన్న ఒక ఏజెంట్ టైంలో మనం ఉన్నా కూడా ఇంకా ప్యూర్ లవ్ ఉంది. అంటే మాకు ఈ మనిషే కావాలి, ఓన్లీ విత్ దిస్ పర్సన్ ఐ యామ్ సీయింగ్ మై లైఫ్ అన్న ఒక కేటగిరీ కూడా ఉంది. సో ఐ థింక్ దే వుడ్ అప్రిషియేట్ సచ్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ ఫిల్మ్స్. ఎస్. దెన్ గోయింగ్ టు అక్టోబర్, దట్ ఈస్ ఆఫ్ గాడ్ ఫాదర్. ఎస్, దో ఇట్ ఈస్ అ రీమేక్, ఐ థింక్ ఇట్ వాస్ సో వెరీ వెల్ మేడ్. అంటే అందులోంచి ఎసెన్స్ తీసుకొని మనకు కావాల్సిన సినిమాటిక్ లిబర్టీస్ ఇంకార్పొరేట్ చేసి, ద సర్ప్రైజింగ్ ఫ్యాక్టర్ ఈస్ చిరంజీవి గారిని అలా చూపించడం, విచ్ I think it is a challenge, and portraying him like that. So I want to hear from you. What do you have to say about this?
To remake a film which everybody has watched on a digital platform during the last 2 years is a big challenge, because we are at a phase where we are saying that, if you make a frame to frame or a scene to scene remake, why will people watch it in this day and age?
Right.
Because you can shift the language to any kind of a language and then you can watch it on OTT.
Exactly.
Unless you only want to see the actors that your film industry has in a certain way. So a lot of remakes just fell flat on their faces as well. We know. No need to take names here at all. So the only way to do a remake now would be to adapt it, to make changes in it and to present it in a new format, which I thought reasonably they did it over here. It's high time that our directors and our fans also, the huge fans that all these big stars enjoy, they have to accept people as they age. You can't expect them to keep playing the same old things again and again and, to dance around with women who are half their age.
Correct.
Then you're not allowing them to evolve. Whether it's the ecosystem or the pressures that they face from the box office, that has to change a bit. So it was nice to see, getting Chiranjeevi to do a little bit of a grey hair and to play a slightly mature character.
Right.
That part of the adaptation, I really
not having
liked.
a heroine.
Yeah.
Not
and
dancing.
Nayanthara's
no powerful dialogues.
better.
Yeah, it's all like
Rather than even better than the original. Exactly. I thought that character was a little more enhanced. Like the way the antagonist was also given scope and then it was performed so well by Satyadev. The only thing which I felt with Godfather was, see, Lucifer, you knew that Mohanlal had a little bit of grey shades to him as well. Here it gets very ironed out. I wish they would just present a character as complex as that, so that it's much more interesting. It's high time you do that.
Okay.
So that little bit need not have been ironed out.
Yeah, but that can be ignored.
And towards the end, I didn't really buy into that entire Salman Khan episode as well. I thought it became a little gimmicky. That didn't work for me.
That's because of, again, as I said, it could have been a pressure from the Chiranjeevi fans. We need one step, at least one step. And so for that dance,
okay, but that
dance,
was,
Salman has to come.
Because
Prithviraj's role,
so
somebody should play.
So over the top, that cameo which Salman Khan played, that it was like...
All right. Fine. Then we go to the November releases, that is Yashoda and Masuda. These two, again, were mind-blowing. I mean, the concept of IVF and all the pregnant ladies, and then that there's a big scam happening. And then it is actually a thriller action film where Sam plays a fantabulous role. And just the action sequences, she's nailed it. So what do you have to say about Yashoda?
Expected a lot more.
A lot more?
Yeah, okay. A lot more. I mean, no complaints at all as far as Samantha is concerned. I thought she acted very well in the action episodes and even outside of it. Even in those, her journey from the slum to where she is, and then the rapport that she shares with the other girls in that facility. All that I thought was beautifully done. She carried it so well, and it was she who anchored the entire film. So, there I have no bones to pick. I thought the story itself later in the second half, especially towards the last 1/3 of the film, could have been handled even better. It became a little clunky, as though they didn't know what else to do with it. To an extent, I also liked Varalakshmi was again a brilliant portrayal. She was like all wicked and evil, and she had a blast doing that. And those scenes between her and Rao Ramesh and all, it was like one very absurd comedy kind of a thing. There's a term for that kind of a drama which plays out over there.
And that Unni Mukundan, he's also
the
done his
turnaround of
best.
Unni Mukundan. Lot of things were interesting in that, but I thought as a complete product, as a complete film, it could have been way better.
Way better.
That was my opinion.
Okay.
I didn't like the climax of it. I thought somewhere it fell flat, I thought.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Fine. Then what about Masuda?
Masuda was like it was like a small surprise, I would say. It came like a slow burn kind of a horror drama, a true horror drama.
Correct.
After the beaten to death horror comedies.
I know. It was like, so many series have come actually, in the line. All these comedy horrors. Yeah.
I'm someone who does not watch horror movies unless I have to review them. I'm really scared of horror movies and all. This one, I remember discussing it with the director and the producer, and they told me there are not too many jump scares, and also don't bother about it, just go ahead and watch. I like the fact that it was not the usual kind of a jump scare situation, because it slowly builds up its momentum. Until the first half, you are only establishing the entire setup and building up that mood. You know that something it's very eerie and it's just going to be evil later. Also, a lot of portions happen during the daytime.
Correct.
Unlike the usual horror movies, which they use the darkness to evoke that fear. So the cinematography was very good. Nagesh Benal. And Sangeetha and Thiruveer as well, and the girl Bandhavi who did the teenager's role. All that was good. And also, if you look at the title itself, Masuda in Arabic means a good woman.
Yes.
And then later, when you come to Masuda's story, there's no justification for why she is so evil. It's like they did not concoct a story and say, this is why she's evil. She is evil and you buy that.
Yeah. She's actually evil.
Yeah.
She's not a good woman at all. True.
I felt Masuda could have been even better.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Because when I was watching it, I was like, this is also a slightly long film, right? So when you waited patiently for so much, I thought the payoffs would be even better. I liked the forest scene. I liked whatever was happening. But somewhere within me, I was like, I thought there'll be even more.
Okay. Dil mange more.
Yeah. Towards the end, there's this dialogue where that lady says, I can't believe it. Is that all that happened? That was me. I was like, I can't believe it. There has to be more.
Yes, true. And but one thing which I appreciated personally about the film is not going the regular path wherein you always have these spirits and evil spirits only of Hindus, and when you at least showed some other community. I mean, you have a Muslim family, they go through some problem, they face some issues with some spirit, and that point actually, that really, excited.
It gave it a different texture.
It gave a different texture.
Also, to have one of the central characters as a neighbor of the family, he can just walk away anytime he feels, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that was
that
also
humanity and that goodness, inculcating such kind of a thought process. Then finally, the December month with Hit 2. We closed the year with a hit. And Sailesh Kolanu in a series has made it again, and Nani was not wrong. His judgment always went right, especially when he produced films. So and now he's with this hit universe. I think he's going to really make it, really hit the cloud 9 with his 7 series. I mean, third one he's going to feature. So what do you think about the Hitverse?
The Hitverse is a very interesting cop universe, I should say. And how very different the two films are. I think there are a lot of people who say that I like Hit better than Hit 2. It's a personal choice, because Hit 1, Vishwak's character was one of those brooding characters. He had that post-traumatic stress disorder, and he was more like a Sherlock Holmes kind of a thing in the way he deduced things. He came with a lot of knowledge. So when he looked at certain weeds growing, he knew what is what and why this will grow here and this will not grow there, or where somebody is coming from. So the way he analyzed and took things and then solved crime was different, and it was suspect play. Everybody is guilty until proved innocent. That kind of a setup. So the flaw, I mean, a little disappointment with Hit 1 was that the subplot which came towards the end was like a separate story altogether. So it's not like, because viewers are also thinking along with you when you watch a film, saying that could it be this one, could it be that one, and they're trying to piece together a puzzle, and you bring a totally new puzzle and tell them no, nothing of this, and then something else.
It is something else. Yeah.
So you don't get that happiness of having solved something.
Right.
That was different, but beautiful. And with this, I thought, like, it's not about the Holmes kind of a deduction that matters over here. It's about a cool cop, a slightly lazy cop in a different kind of a city, waking up to he's also has his conscience in the right place, but he's waking up to what's happening in front of him. And this one, I'm sure even you would have guessed it while watching the film. When you look at a certain actor, you
will know this could be
this could be the guy, because they wouldn't hire him otherwise.
Right.
So in spite of it, they held the drama, and then it was about the clash between the antagonist and the Sesh's character. Also, they used that Sesh's character, KD's trait of talking like in a smart way.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't say the right things, right? When he meets someone, there's like a colorism kind of a comment.
It's very sarcastic.
And then it's like, you don't make that skin color kind of comment.
Yes.
But towards the end, they use that politically incorrect way of talking to fuel that anger in that antagonist, and then to open up another door.
Right.
Which I thought at least, okay, thank God they did that.
Yeah. But one thing which I liked about is, showing the hero that he is the hero. He can do anything. He can beat 100 people at a time. So that kind of a concept, he went out of that box. And he made it very easy and natural to look at, because Sesh is tied and he cannot just break his ties and beat the goon. So the dog rescues, the heroine rescues.
The dog rescues, the heroine
rescues. It's also very organic.
So, also, I like the comment that they made about the encounter killings.
Exactly.
We all know what happened. And then the entire discussion about whether that was right or whether that was wrong. And during that time, a lot of actors also, I think, voiced their opinion, lauding the police action. And then there's a similar scene over here where it's like the ability to go back and laugh at yourself, at your own breed, and then say that maybe we misjudged it, maybe we should have waited a bit. Also, I liked how KD, he has to outsmart, he has to do the right thing, and he cannot go and physically fight whoever is doing it. So he does a smart thing of, using some other trick in the book. I don't want to talk so much about it because that film has not yet come into OTT space. I like the fact that they still kept it as a bronze over brain kind of a format.
Exactly, wonderful. So wonderful screenplay, great writing, and great thought, and futuristic approach, because he's now planned, he's already written all the 7, I believe. So waiting for the next series and wanting to see how Nani would do, because he's a ferocious cop.
And I think it would be like a grey character.
Going
by what little we saw, it has to be like a grey character, so that it doesn't become like you're endorsing the wrong kind of a cop.
Now, finally, before we close, other than the Telugu films that we saw, there were so many films from the other languages which were so good, and they were so very well received even in Telugu industry, like Vikram, KGF, then Kanthara, The Love Today, and Tiruchitrambalam. Nice films. So if you have to just throw light on all of them once.
I think it was a very different experience to go and see how well KGF 2 was even edited. I had a lot of problems with the story per se, or the way the romance was depicted and all that. I wouldn't give it a completely clean sheet and say, wow and all, but incredible effort for pulling off such a massive film with a much smaller budgets than that they had, unlike RRR, in terms of using a very new kind of an editing technique to narrate a story, to have your attention. That was a very different kind of an experience to go and watch it in theaters, I thought. That, and then we also spoke about Vikram. Vikram, oh my God, I think I really overdosed on it quite a bit, because first I went and watched it. Just the night before that film's release, Lokesh Kanakaraj said, please watch Kaidi and come. I was like, now again? It's quite late in the night. I had watched Kaidi before, but after watching Vikram, I went back and watched Kaidi again. Again ran to the theatres to watch Vikram. Anirudh's music, or the way they had interconnected both the films, and I'm not someone who usually likes to watch very violent films, but this film, I was absolutely blown away by the different characters, and Kamal Haasan comes a long time later.
Yes.
It's Fahad Fasil's film until then.
Right.
And Kamal Hassan gets to play his age. He's a grandfather.
Correct.
Which is what I also said, that you should allow your heroes to age. Otherwise, you will not get good, interesting stories.
Right.
And as a producer for Kamal Hassan to back something like this, and the last few minutes, of course, that Surya's turnaround. We've never seen him in that kind of guest appearance. Rolex,
Yes.
insane.
No, everything is so very well packed and packaged. It's like fantastic film. And looking forward for the Vikram verse also. I mean, universe.
They have a tough benchmark.
Right. They have. Yeah.
Tiruchitrambalam was a nice small surprise. It's like, again, just like how Sita Ramam broke that notion that only masculine films can work. This one also, it had, it's like you have 3 generations of men, Bharati Raja, Prakash Raj and Dhanush's characters talking about, trying to iron out their own friction because of whatever happened in their life. There's so much drama in that. And then Nitya Menon, I absolutely loved the way she anchored that entire film.
3 people. Yeah.
Very nicely written, human relationships, drama, and that beautiful music by Anirudh. Such a heartwarming film that was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then Kanthara though, it's just blown out everybody. It's like unexpected.
It was like you bring your very traditional folklore and then you incorporate a little bit of masala into it. Very different kind of an experience.
Rajmouli himself told, I'm scared of Kanthara. So which means that film really
there was
created
something new
that impact.
to watch.
Yeah, right. And then of course the other films like what do you say, Love Today, and
Love
then
Today, Ponniyin Selvan also. I know that a lot of Telugu speaking people didn't connect to it much. But I also know a number of people who went back and watched the Tamil version with subtitles. Even the original Tamil plays with subtitles, and they loved it even better. To narrate a historical fiction to that level with so many actors, and where the women had such strong parts. The original novel itself was written like that. It's the women who power that entire drama. And hats off to Mani Ratnam for he's been in cinema for 40 years. We've all learned so much from him. And the way he did that entire thing, I thought it's a film where right from the moment you enter the theatre, you need your complete attention, right from the Kamal Hassan's voiceover. Otherwise, you're going to miss something. So we're like on an edge watching it. That was so different.
Very true, and thank you so much, Sangeetha. Finally, I think, times are changing, and I think films are changing, the perspectives are changing, the audience are changing, and we expect more realistic films. And on top of it, the hero is not just a macho man. He has his own senses and sensibilities, his vulnerabilities. And then the heroines can also be larger than life.
Oh yeah,
coming soon. In the next films that come. So it's like, there's a lot to go, lot to come. And I think looking forward to many more brilliant films next year. So
the evolution process, I think, should not stop, because we are in a time where we are watching every other industry's films.
Exactly.
So you cannot fall back and say that this is enough for Telugu cinema.
Thank you so much. It was fun talking to you, and I'm thankful to you for giving your time.
No, thanks for making me do this. I know how you've been so persuasive, and finally you got me to agree to do this.
Thanks, Sangeetha.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, Prema.
And then wish you a very happy new year. So next year again we'll do one more. 2023 December. We'll talk again.
Have a great year, Prema.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a gift hamper from Village.
Thank you.